Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Makeup Basics with an Average Joe. That's me. Today we are going to be going step by step how to do your brows. We're talking product, placement, and personal style. If you're enjoying this playlist here on my channel, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below anything you guys would love to see in the Beauty Basics playlist here on this channel. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can be notified every time I post a new video, which should be every Monday and Friday at 10 a.m. You guys asked how to get Joe brows to look amazing. See what I did there? That was bad, right? I think that was the worst joke I've told on this channel. When it comes to products, there are actually a lot of different options to choose from. So you could do a gel, which can be either clear or it can be tinted. You can use a pomade, a pencil, a powder. You could do microblading or tattoos if you don't want to mess with any of that. Your product choice really depends heavily on not only the natural brows that God gave you, but also your individual style and preference as for how you would like for them to look. I'm going to walk you through the basic steps, but make sure to take those things into consideration whenever you're picking the product for yourself. For example, if you naturally have some pretty thick brows and your overall desired look is something rather like natural and soft, maybe like barely filled in, I don't suggest a pomade for you. If you have thin, sparse brows and you're going for that like full glam look, I don't think that just a pencil will suffice for you. And because my brows are somewhere in the middle, I find that I can get away with either using a pencil or using a pomade. And I'm going to be demonstrating both of those, one on one side and the other on the other side. Regardless of which of those two products that I choose to use on my brows that day, I always first go in with a clear brow gel. I love this stuff because what it does is put your natural brow hairs like kind of in place, like a little bit of like rubber glue. And I find that if you have super thick natural brows and you just want a little bit of an eye lift, this may be the only step that you need. On the converse of that, if you have full brows but they may be not the color that you desire, or say on like my busier days, I will take a tinted brow gel. My favorites are from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I will just give my brows a quick little tint and then go out the door. It just gives me a little bit of facial expressions, honestly. You know, that way if I raise my eyebrow at you, you can see it. Okay, so going in with my brow gel, I always brush the hair at the forefront of the brow straight up. And I use this upward stroke from the front of the brow, as you see me do here, all the way back and towards the arch of the brow. I want to give myself a little bit of an eye lift through this, so I'm following that direction and laying the brows in place. When I get to the arch following my natural brow shape, I drag up, out, and then down in order to solidify that really pretty arch that I want. If you're someone who has brows for days, this may be the only step that you need, as I find that it's a really nice way to add a little bit of shape and look a little bit more like groomed on your day-to-day. So my arches are pretty defined because that's where I begin to lose brow hairs, but if you're struggling to find that for yourself, one trick that I can show you is to take something with a straight edge and anchor it at the side of your nose going through your pupil. So if you're looking straight ahead in the mirror, and that is typically the best way for you to find where your ideal or your symmetrical arch would be on your face. This also is very helpful as far as like doing your winged eyeliner, balancing out the bottom or the top portion of your eyebrows. On days when I have absolutely no time whatsoever, but I want to have a little bit more of like facial expressions, I will do this step with a tinted brow gel. Oftentimes that still leaves my brows a little bit too sparse towards the tail, but they're not invisible, so I take what I can get. So the first product that I'm going to be demonstrating is going to be the pencil. And then we will do a pomade on the other side. You can get a pencil from like literally any brand that makes eyebrow products. The first one I ever started with was from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I do really like the Benefit one as well, but really whatever you have works. With the pencil laying rather flat, you see how I'm approaching it here. Instead of like going straight in, I am keeping it nice and soft and to the side. I'm first going to sketch out the base of the brow. Naturally, the underside of your brow is going to be the deepest. I'm going to use several soft strokes and sketch out the base of the brow from the front here all the way up and to the arch. I'm going to switch to more of like a flicking motion, if that makes any sense, placing the tip of my pencil right here on that new base that I created and giving it a flick upwards, especially right here in the inner corner, because what I'm trying to do is simulate brow hairs. I like to keep the front portion of the brow incredibly light, as naturally it would be a little bit lighter here on the inner corner, and then it's going to get deeper as you get here to the tail. And for the tail, rather than simulating like individual brow strokes going up in that nice flicking motion, we lay our pencil down flat again, and because we do want this portion of the brow to be a little bit deeper, we are going to create slightly heavier handed lines and strokes. It'll also help if when you get to the tail you choke up on your pencil if you want to make sure that you go a little bit heavier handed, as opposed to holding it here at the base of the pen like you do here in the front portion of the brow. When using a pomade, which I often choose if I am going for a slightly more dramatic look, or if I have a client who has very sparse brows and wants that full glam, you're also going to need a brush. I prefer something small and tight and precise. That way I can build it up as I need, or I can be really minute with the detail. I'm going to follow the same basic steps that we did with the pencil as far as like building the base. So you see that first we're going to go in with our angled brush, and just as we did on the other side, the first step is always to build that base. I like to keep the strokes very soft. Because this is a thicker product, it's easier to build up the opacity of something like this, and so it is really easy to accidentally like go too ham. It's for this reason that usually I suggest, if people have medium brows like me, first starting with the pencil and then graduating to the pomade. What's so funny is that my natural eyebrows are so uneven. That's crazy. So you see that we built up the tail, and you can already tell that this is a much stronger brow. From here, I usually connect the very top portion because that is where I know my eyebrows are the most sparse. Bam, she looks sharp, she looks inquisitive. And then as far as building that product up, instead of going in with my brush being flat like it was here to build the base and then do the tail, I will actually use the full width of the brush here and do like a flicking upwards motion. That way I'm depositing color from that baseline that we have drawn all the way up through the brows. Usually I'll start with the tail, that way I use the majority of the product that I've loaded onto my brush here in the area where I'd like it to be deepest, and then when I have barely anything left on the brush, that is when I will go back to the center, because again, we do want it to kind of like taper into nothingness, otherwise it just looks clunky and gross. So I'm going to brush right here at the very center, go in straight up, and then I'm going to take my brush and put it back on its point and simulate some of those brow hairs right here in the very front. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it useful. Please drop me a comment down below letting me know which side you are on. Are you a pomade or a pencil kind of person? I go back and forth. It really just depends on my mood and which product I find first. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.